I haven't been able to do much lives because I've been unwell, but the Dean Elgar DRS clearly prompts an analysis. And I decided to go to Lakshman Shivaramakrishnan. He has been in the commentary business for the last 21 years and has seen it all, has seen how DRS has evolved. In my book, Dean Elgar was plumb LBW. There's no two ways about it. Yes, we have all heard and seen what the Indian players have said on the stump mic. We know they feel let down, and there is every reason for them to be feeling so. There is an element of error, and there's no question that technology is not error-free. It's also important that this is the only sport that allows men to predict. So people predicting is what impacted that particular dismissal, and Shiva explains in this piece how error crept in or possibly had crept in, and Dean Elgar got a reprieve when, according to Shiva, he too was plumb LBW. Listen in to Lakshman Shivaramakrishnan.
Hi, this is Lakshman Shivaramakrishnan. I've been in the commentary line for the last 21 years, and I've been seeing the DRS ever since it was introduced into the system. For me, I've always felt the exact point of impact can only be registered from the square angles, which is either point or square leg. But the general perception and what the spectators see and what the Hawkeye does is freeze the ball from the front angle and only then track the ball. That makes for good visual because you're looking at from a straight angle. But the problem there lies is because if it's frozen or paused a fraction earlier, then the point of deviation and the point of bounce is a lot of difference. Because of the fact that it's frozen or paused a little earlier, the turn might be a lot more in terms of the projected turn by the Hawkeye, and also the bounce will be a lot more because instead of showing good length, it will be showing just short of good length. So the point of impact while coming from the straight angle has to be perfect, and it can't be perfect all the time because it's manually done. So I would think that looking at the replays of Ashwin's bowling, I think Dean Elgar was plumb in front, and the point of impact might have been wrongly judged by the Hawkeye with a straight-on angle, and hence the bounce might have seemed a lot more. But in my opinion, the perfect point of impact is only obtained from the square angle and not from the straight angle. So I think there is a huge element of doubt in what we saw yesterday with the leg before appeal. The umpire's decision always stands good, and I think in this case, Murray Erasmus gave the right decision, and probably the technology went wrong, and South Africa got a huge benefit of doubt. And that is my personal opinion, and I stand by it.
So there you have it from Shiva as to what he believes went wrong with the Elgar dismissal. Marais Erasmus, clearly, multiple times you've heard the commentators say he's the best, he's the most conservative, and how many times has his decisions been overruled in this particular series? Hardly any. If you remember, hardly any. So even Marais Erasmus had a smile. He generally is stoic. He had a smile on his face when he said, he was literally seen shaking his head, couldn't believe it, and you've heard him also on the stump mic. That is also now in the public domain. That was a wrong call. 60 for 2 South Africa could have meant they were 4 down by the end of the day's play. And the Indians have every reason to be hard done, feel hard done, and feel violated. Yes, the match referee might call the Indians, but there is a line between what is legal and what is moral. And in this case, the moral has been violated. And that is very important that all of us need to take into account. Is this the first time? No. Shiva recounts an instance from the past as well, and you will find it very, very scary. Listen in.
Well, with regard to DRS, in my early days as a commentator, I had a fellow commentator sitting next to me, and I remember it was the dismissal of Sourav Ganguly. He was given out leg before, and I felt while sitting next to my partner that the ball might have pitched outside the line of leg stump. So my fellow commentator went down to the director in terms of a machine called a lazy machine, which enables the commentators to speak to the director. And those tram lines or the red zones that we used to have to see if the ball's pitching within the stumps or outside the line of the stumps, off stump or leg stump. In Saurav's case, it was pitching outside leg stump. So he requested the director, because the cameras which hold the mat or the red zone is called the LBW cameras, and it's a fixed camera. It can't be moved around. So, but with the fixed camera, it's remotely operated from the control room. So what happened in that case was my co-commentator requested the director to see if he can extend the red zone and show the ball pitching on the leg stump, which would have then meant the red zone would have been beyond 9 inches, which means the red zone would have gone outside of the leg stump to the outside of the off stump, therein giving a wrong indication and wrong evidence, not only to the umpire but to the entire public, that the ball might have pitched on the leg stump and hit middle. And this was my early days, and I was quite shocked. I didn't know what to do, but these kind of things have happened in front of me. So this is just one example I'm giving you. And India, everybody thinks that we were not very keen on doing the DRS or taking DRS into play. But in 2008, I think India was the first country that accepted the DRS. And in the series against Sri Lanka, we had an Australian director where all the DRS that India went for went against them. Almost all of it went against India. But every time the Sri Lankans went for it, they almost got it right. So a high percentage of successful reviews were done by Sri Lanka, and a high percentage of unsuccessful reviews went to India, which then means that while taking a lot of time, that's where there is a big element of doubt. While taking a lot of time in the ball tracking, there is always a chance that something can be done with that. So India were the first ones to take up the DRS, and because the experience was so bad, they refused to take the DRS later on, take the technology into the game later on. And only after Anil Kumble became the chairman of the ICC Cricket Committee did India accept to the technology and take up the DRS. But nobody can blame India, because they were the first one to try out the DRS. They were on the receiving end, and what's happening right now is also a huge problem in terms of the DRS is not 100% accurate, and it can be manipulated.
So there you have it. The Dean Elgar controversy will now rage on. It's a matter of debate. Should the ICC step in? Should the BCCI step in? Should cricket boards around the world try and find mechanisms? Because this dismissal could have impacted the outcome of a series and the World Test Championship. Is that fair? We leave it open-ended, and the jury is out on this particular one. That's our Palak Day breaking news.